Welcome to the Technical Writing Success Podcast from Kurt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. This is episode 174. I'm Fred.
And I'm Daphne.
And today we are getting into a really fascinating topic. It's this intersection between AI generation and, let's call it, technical honesty.
It is. Specifically, we're looking at how college students are actively and pretty creatively working to mask AI output.
So it's not just about using it, it's about hiding the fact that they're using it.
Exactly. And our producer, Kurt Robbins, he suggested we look at an article that really lays this all out. It's called College Students Are Sprinkling Typos into Their AI Papers on Purpose by Noor Elsebai.
And that was in Futurism on May 8, 2025.
That's the one. It pulls from interviews in New York Magazine, and it shows that this whole thing, this AI cheating, it's so normalized now that students are just focused on these counter detection strategies.
Right. So our goal here is to unpack these methods, to understand the ethical and academic side of things, but also the sheer irony of it all.
The irony is huge. I mean, the amount of effort some students are putting into evading detection, it starts to look a lot like the effort it would take to just write the essay themselves.
It really does.
Yep.
There's this quote in the article from an instructor that it sums it all up perfectly. He says, if you're going to cheat, you have to cheat in a way that's intelligent.
And that really sets the stage. We're not talking about just copy-pasting anymore. This is something else entirely. It's intentional manipulation.
Okay, so let's get into the tactics, the cheat codes, so to speak. What's the most basic one they're using?
Well, the simplest and maybe the most straightforward one is manually adding typos into the AI-generated papers.
Just going in and misspelling words on purpose.
Yes. It sounds almost silly, but it makes sense from a technical standpoint. AI detectors are looking for patterns of statistical perfection. Perfect grammar, perfect sentence structure.
Which is not how real people write at all.
Not at all. We're messy. We make typos. We use awkward phrasing. So by adding those little flaws back in, they're trying to make the text look more human to the machine. They're adding noise to the signal.
That makes a strange kind of sense. But it seems like they've moved beyond that. The article mentions using prompt engineering to get a flawed voice from the start.
Right. This is the next level up. So instead of just generating the text and then editing it, they're telling the AI how to write. There was a specific example from a TikTok video.
What was the prompt?
The prompt was to, and I'm quoting here, write an essay as a college freshman who is a little dumb.
Wow. So they're literally telling the multi-billion-dollar language model to dial down its intelligence.
Precisely. They're leveraging the AI's ability to adopt a persona. They don't want the perfect essay. They want something that sounds a little clumsy, a little repetitive, just like a real student might.
It's like they're reverse engineering authenticity. But the most ingenious method, the one that really stood out, was from a Stanford sophomore named Eric.
Oh, the layering, yes. This is where it gets into genuine systems literacy.
Explain that process. How does it work?
So he described taking a prompt and putting it into ChatGPT. Then he takes that output, that whole essay, and feeds it into a second AI like Claude. And then he runs that output through a third AI.
It's like laundering the text. What's the logic behind that? Why do it 3 times?
It's all about destroying the original linguistic fingerprint. Every AI model has its own unique sort of statistical signature. By running the text through different models, you're rewriting and rephrasing it each time with a different algorithm.
So you're polluting the data. You're making it impossible for a detector to trace it back to a single source.
Exactly. Eric himself said that every time you run it through another AI, it decreases the percentage of AI used according to the detectors. This isn't an accident. It's a systematic exploitation of the technology.
That is an incredible amount of work just to avoid writing a paper.
It's a different kind of work, technical work.
Let's take a brief break for a special message from our producer, Kurt Robbins.
Hi, this is Kurt Robbins. First, thanks for listening. I truly appreciate your support. I want to let you know that I'm currently accepting new clients. My rates are affordable, and I have more than 25 years of experience working for enterprise companies like Microsoft, Northrop Grumman, Oracle, PNC Bank, FedEx, USAA, and Wells Fargo, among many others. If you want to improve your IT documentation and communications, hire me. I deliver fast, know how to use AI to improve efficiency and accuracy, and love going the extra mile to satisfy my clients. Thank you for subscribing and listening. Back to you, Daphne and Fred.
Welcome back to the Technical Writing Success Podcast.
So we've talked about the technical side of how students are doing this, but now we need to shift to the impact this is having on educators.
Right, because they're the ones on the receiving end of all this.
Yeah.
The article brings up a teaching assistant from the University of Iowa, Sam Williams.
And he really nails the core concern for teachers. He says students are using AI because it is, quote, a simple solution and an easy way for them not to put in time writing essays.
It's about avoiding the struggle, the actual learning part.
Exactly. And he had this really telling experience. He was assisting with a gen ed class on music and social change. He had the students do 2 assignments.
Okay.
The first was a personal essay about their own musical tastes. He said those seemed fine, they sounded authentic.
It sounded like students.
Right. But the second assignment was a historical essay on New Orleans jazz. And that's where things went completely off the rails. The difference in quality and tone was, as he put it, shocking.
Because that's a topic that's just perfect for an AI to generate something on.
It is. But the problem wasn't just the tone, it was the facts, or the lack of facts. He found these really egregious errors.
Like what kind of errors?
The most glaring one, the one the article highlights, was the repeated inclusion of Elvis Presley in essays about the history of New Orleans jazz.
Wait, Elvis, the king of rock and roll,
Elvis Presley.
in an essay on New Orleans jazz.
Yeah.
That's a classic AI hallucination, isn't it?
Yeah.
He had nothing to do with that scene or that genre.
Absolutely nothing. It's a fundamental error that shows the students just took whatever the AI gave them and didn't do a single fact check, not even a quick search.
So all that technical effort to layer the AIs and add typos, and they skip the most basic step of just checking if the information is correct.
It brings us right back to that instructor's quote about cheating intelligently. They mastered the technical part of the cheat, the evasion, but they failed the content part completely.
Which really leads to the deeper consequence here, doesn't it? The point Williams was making about the whole academic process.
It does. His big worry was this new habit of intellectual retreat. He said that when students hit something difficult, instead of fighting their way through that and growing from it, they retreat to something that makes it a lot easier for them.
And that fight, that struggle, is where the learning actually happens.
That's the entire point of the exercise. So if you're constantly using AI to sidestep any kind of intellectual challenge, you're not building those critical thinking muscles.
It creates what the article called a scary precedent. You become completely reliant on a tool that, as the Elvis example shows, can be just plain wrong.
It's the difference between learning to read a map and just typing a destination into a GPS. When the GPS fails, the map reader can figure it out. The other person is just lost.
So given all this, the energy and the creativity that goes into fooling these systems, where does that leave us?
Well, that's the final question I want to leave you with. Think about the skills required to do this. To layer systems, to engineer a flawed voice, to purposefully de-optimize a text. Is this, in a strange, unintended way, becoming a new form of technical problem solving?
So are they learning a different, maybe even perverse kind of skill by trying to cheat?
It's a paradox, isn't it? They're becoming experts at manipulating complex systems. And it forces us to ask what skill even means in an age where AI can do so much of the traditional work for us. That's something to really think about.
Thank you for listening to the Technical Writing Success Podcast from Kurt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. We'll see you next time.